Basically, today I want to show you like these are the concepts what are available within your logic app, the control flow and parallel executions, and based on the result of one action, like whether it is pass or fail or the leave balance is like available or not, like based on different real-time scenarios. Like you might want to use if else or switch case or loops, terminates and so like basically the other concepts of making your logical app more real time. If you see any programming language, like you have all these things in your programming language. Even if you take C sharp, in C sharp you have if, loop, switch, for each, all those things are available within this your logic app. The only thing why they have launched this logic app is like you don't have to write code for this. You can do all these things with GUI, and internally that GUI is generating the JSON code. Okay, so if no questions, we can begin our today's session. All right, I have this storage account. Within this storage account, I have few things here. Okay, under blob container, I have one folder called test folder. Okay, within queues, I have created one queue called control queue. We'll use all this thing today. Under tables, I have created one table called logs queue. New window here. I will create a new logic app, and we'll try to demonstrate all these controls with this new logic app here. So I have logs here, storage table. I have a folder here, storage blob. This is a table and this is queue. I'm calling test my test logic app. This name is available. These are the ways you control the flow of your workflow. That logic app workflow, like you can have parallel execution, you can have conditional execution. Conditional execution is like this shows it's a parallel. After one activity, you're going to execute two more activities parallelly. Conditional is we have if and switch here, and there are some scenarios that you may want to repeat that same action. So for that you can use these iterations. We have for each and until, both are similar, and then we have terminate. It's like a break. In your switch case, we have break, right? Like, or somewhere we can call break in your iterations. This is like that terminate. You just terminate the workflow. Like for example, an employee is applying for a leave, and if his leave balance is not, there's no balance available under his leave account, we can terminate that request. Or in e-commerce application, customer is applying a discount coupon, and if that coupon is not valid, it expired, so you can terminate that request. So then we have finally we'll see scope. The parallel execution is you split your execution when you have two activities running side by side. So we'll see this as first example. Okay, this is created. Let's go to this resource. You see like all and built-in and standard, all these are connectors, and there are some enterprise. They will charge you for using those connectors, so there might be price involved on your billing if you are using those connectors. So most of the connectors are free for our day-to-day activities. Most of the connectors what we need are available in all and built-in, and if you don't find anything, you can just search it from here. So we want to look at a storage blob. Whenever a blob is added or modified, this will get triggered. Okay. On which container? I have my connection string here. That's why it has selected by default. Otherwise, it will prompt you to enter the connection string, or if you want to change connection string, you can change it from here. This connection string is with reference to that storage account. So in that I just have test folder right now. So that's what it is showing here. And it is saying the number of files it has to return. For example, if the end user or anybody adding blobs or files to your storage account, this trigger will take last 10 files. Okay, so we can increase or decrease based on this, and how often you want them to check this. Like we have seen this yesterday, like every 3 minutes you will go back to that and check that. But for this demo purpose, we don't even have to wait for 3 minutes. We can just manually run this here. So once I get that, I want to, for example, let's say I want to add the metadata of that to a storage table. Okay. So this is the action I'm using. Azure table storage. In that, what do I want to do? I want to insert or merge an entity. Okay. So again, we are on the same connection string. So it will show me the tables available within my resource group, that storage account. Okay, Roshan is asking, can you explain the number of blob to return a part again? Same thing, like this trigger is going to take last 10 files. Like on this storage account, this folder, if somebody is uploading either from this portal or from the application, anybody is uploading files here. If for example, I'm just adding 4 files now. So what it does is it takes that 4 files. If somebody is adding 20 files, it will take the last 10 files. Okay, so here this trigger is going to read the number of files you specify here. Sometimes it may just want to give 1 file. So that is also possible. So by default, it is taking that 10 here. So basically, this trigger or this action is going to read this number of files which are recently added or modified onto this storage account or onto this container under that storage account. After we get that, what I want to do is I want to add the metadata of that file into a storage table, this logs table. Remember, to work with table, we have to pass partition key and row key. For this partition key, I just want to pass, if you go to expression, there are functions available here. I can do GUID. There's a function here. And if I click OK, same thing here also, row key also, I just want to pass GUID. Entity, we have to insert a JSON entity here. So let's say file name. File name we are getting on the previous step, right? If you see this dynamic content, we should get the file name here. You have list of file names. Okay. So I want to put that here in the JSON. Now to close this. Why it is saying list of file? Because in the previous step we are getting 10 files here. Let's save this. So if there is any errors here while saving, it should show you that errors here. And at the same time, I may want to perform another action. So I'll say add a parallel branch here. For example, let's say maybe we want to send out an email and also store it here. Yesterday I was already logged in. So this is what I was saying yesterday. Like if you want to use Outlook, it will ask you to log in from which account you want to send out an email. Then it will ask us that whether like this logic app is trying to access your inbox. Do you want to allow that? Like this is an additional step you have to perform in the beginning to allow your logic app to send out email from your account. Send out to my another account and Gmail. We can take all the metadata from our previous step. If you don't see that, you can click on see more. These are the fields we can use it from, the display name or where it was uploaded, or what time it was added, what is the media type. Let's see this media type. Okay. So we are doing 2 steps here, and maybe we can do another step here, the parallel branch. Now it is adding a 3rd step here. Third thing what I want to do here is, for example, maybe I just want to delete that, whatever the file is uploading there. Let's not do that right now. Let's just continue with two steps or two parallel activities. Okay, I have saved this. Let me run this now. What is it to see it work? Now add or change the blob in your container you selected. So here we can go and add some files. Say I'll add this first file. Save now. If I go to this designer, this should execute now. So there was a blob added. You see the output, and this file we have added. Okay. This body is being passed to these two activities. Output 40204, and there is no content written. There should be a new log added here in our storage table logs. If I just refresh, I should see a new entry here. Name of the file, we just passed this one parameter. Timestamp, row key and partition key was the GeoID what we have passed, and name of the file we passed as a JSON there. That's what it is adding here, and at the same time it sent out an email, status 200. If I see my Gmail account, I should have that email. So while it loads that, any questions in this? Pretty simple, right? Like you can execute two parallel activities like this, or you can have multiple activities, like more than one. Let's just go to Gmail. So we got that one, email. File added. This is the file. Okay, next thing is we want to do a conditional split. Okay, Roshan is asking how about adding an Azure function as a parallel activity to a workflow. Okay, for example, if you just expand this one, or maybe just delete this. Okay. I want to add a parallel branch. Here what I will do is I will choose my Azure function here. I take Azure function as this activity, and right now I don't have any Azure function in my account. I just deleted that yesterday. So if you have that, I think yesterday we have seen like that GitHub tracker. If you just choose that one, what it does is it will execute both of them parallelly, and whatever the body you get out of this, we have seen that result, right? This is our run history. So you can go back like this and check the history of the execution there. So if you see, this is the output and this is the body. So this body will act as input to your HTTP that trigger, that Azure function. Remember, it's a post. What I wanted to demonstrate is like based on condition, if I want to do that, for example, see whatever the file it is fetching from the blob, these are the properties we got. So there is a property called media type. For example, like we can use this property media type to evaluate what file is being uploaded. If it's a JPG file, it will give image/JPEG. If it's a PNG file, it will give image/PNG. If it's a PDF, like the media type would be application/PDF. So we can use this property to evaluate a condition, and based on this property, we can execute either this one or that one. At the same time, like we can use display name or name of the file or anything, like when was the last time it was modified, what is the time it was uploaded. Based on this metadata properties, we can have some conditions here. Let's go back and add one condition. Logic designer. Okay. Let me add a condition here. Add an action. Under action, you would search for control. Under control, now I want to look at a conditional control. Conditional control is like your if. So what is the condition I want to put? Okay. On this value, let's say media type is equals to image/PNG. If this condition is true, this action will get executed. If the condition is solved, this action will get executed. So I'll just drag and drop that here, and I'll add another action here and take Azure storage. Let's say delete a blob, delete an entity. So this is table, sorry. I want to take Azure storage blob. Okay. Yeah, I want to delete a blob. For deleting a blob, I have to pass the path of that blob. The path I'm getting from here. Sometimes I have to click twice. So this is this. So what we are saying here is, so what we are saying in this condition is like whenever there's a new blob added or modified, it will execute this one and fetch the details of this list of blobs there, and it will run this condition. We can have multiple conditions here, and we can choose and or. So this is pretty similar to your any language conditions. If conditions what we now have, we can have multiple conditions. I can add one more row here and this and this, something like this. This one I'll just remove. Okay. So we'll only give one condition. If the file type is, the media type of a file is PNG, if that is true, insert into a log. Otherwise, just delete that file. Okay, this is what we want to do. So right now, if I go to the table, I only have one row. So let's run this, then upload a file here. Let me upload a PNG file. So we are uploading a PNG file. So we should execute the true part of that condition. You see a red text, this got executed, this got executed. The output of this condition statement was true. If you see this one, you see the media type is /png, and it inserted an entity into the table here. If we just refresh, you should see another row here. So we got that PNG file, what we just uploaded. Let's run this again and try uploading any other file. You should not add a row, I should just delete that file. I'll just upload JPG file. This is running. Okay. This file is uploaded. Let's come back here. This time, this part is executed. So if I go here, I should not have any extra row, only two rows. If I just refresh this the recent file 2.jpg should get deleted from here. It's removed because we just said if the condition is not meeting, we want to just delete that file. Okay, this is okay if we just have one or two conditions, but if we have more than one condition, like normally in C# also or any other language, what we do is we add a switch statement there. For switch statement, there are always two actions. Sorry, not scope. For switch statement, there are always two actions. One case and one is default. Same like your C#, you have switch statement, and another you have cases, and at the end you'll have one default case. Like if it's not matching all those cases, it will fall under the default one. Okay. Here is the switch control. So this is the default. If none of the case contains, it will execute this action. So what is the value? I want to again check. So that media type is equals to image/jpeg. I want to do this. I can add more cases here, or if it is application/pdf, I want to do this. If nothing, I just want to delete that file. Okay, as a storage log, delete a blob. Let me just pass that path. So if it is, let's say if it is JPG, I want to add it to queue. We also have a queue. I have created a queue here, right? I just some text message I want to add there. Let's say queue, where is queue? Azure queues. Put a message on the queue. Which queue? Again, it's taking the same connection string. If I want to change, you can change the connection string from here. Control Q. This is the name of my queue. Control Q. I've just selected that one. And what is the message we want to keep here? Let's say name of the file is it was added on. You can just pass the time also from here. So if it's JPG file, it is going to execute this one. If it is PDF, let's say maybe insert another row into your storage table. So again, I have to specify which table. UID, I'll just pass that one. Yeah, this is, you have seen, right, output of this when we have seen the execution history, the output of that is passed as JSON here. Because remember, everything is JSON here. Yeah, it's all JSON. I mean, everything is moving around in JSON. For your storage, right? For your containers and blob, the metadata is JSON. The data what you're storing in Azure table is JSON. Queues also. Queues you can, messages you can add normal messages also. But when we were posting an order, we were actually sending out JSON there. So in queues you can have plain messages as well. You just go to a queue, yeah, add a message. So I can add a normal text message also. It doesn't have to be JSON here. So it can be just normal text messages, but in this we can add a JSON message also. Let me run this. So now what we have, the case one is if the media type is equals to JPG, meaning like if the user is uploading a JPG file, I want to put a message on queue. If it is a PDF file, we want to add a row on the table. If it is nothing, other than these two, we'll just delete that file. If we run this, okay, now I can add some rows here. Let's add a JPG file first. I have, let me add two here now. So this JPG file is uploaded and this should execute now. So this case is executed. Got the file, went into switch, check the media type, and the media type was matching JPG equals to JPG, so it executed this. There should be a new message on our queue. If I just refresh this one, we got that. So this is what I was trying to say. It doesn't have to be JSON message. Like it's a message body. Overall, this metadata, if you retrieve from C#, it might be a JSON res. Like, this might be one parameter, or this might be one property. This might be one property. Overall, if you want to read everything from this queue, it might be that. But the text message is, it can have a plain text message, or it can also contain JSON within this text message property there. Okay, let me just run this again and I will test with PDF. I have this dummy PDF here. I'll just upload that one. This time it should execute the second action, that is adding a row onto your storage table. Okay, so it executed this one. So let's see our logs table here. Should have a new row here. So this new row is added. The name of the file is that PDF file. So anyways, you got an idea, right? We can just upload something else also, just to make sure it is executing the default one. Now we'll upload PNG because there is no condition on PNG, so you should just delete that. Yeah, override. It says it's already there, so this time it should execute that one, the default case. Because it is not matching any of the case, it should go to the default case. It just deleted that. If I just refresh, I should not see this file now. That file is gone. So you get an idea, right? Like how you can use controls. Like there are two controls. One is if, another is switch. If it is just true false, you go with if. It's more than any something like this, you can use switch. Let's delete this. This we have seen. This we okay. This we have seen. Let's see these iterations. For iterations, I want to start with HTTP request. Whenever an HTTP request is received, get method is fine. I just want to use this as a trigger. I want to get the list of all the files. I want to return this. So basically we are not providing anything paging marker there. So it will just return everything what we have there. We just have few records there. After I get this, I want to read all these files. Something we want to do. For example, I'll just go here. I'll remove all these rows. Maybe we just want to enter that data into all this one. Or we can simply delete also. So first thing is we need to use a control. Where is control? If you don't see this, you can search. That's right there. Yeah, control for each. For each file, the value, the output of this is coming into this value. What do we want to do? I want to, let's say, insert into the storage table, same thing. Insert or merge entity. Which table? Same thing. I just want to pass GUID. This one row key, I just want to pass again same GUID. Okay. So what we are doing, we are initiating an HTTP request and it is calling a list of job blob. It is fetching all the files from that particular folder and the value, the output of that is being passed as value to this. So what it does is, see if I am just hovering this, you see what it is doing, body of list blob. So it is taking from list blob, so whatever the body is, and it is evaluating the value there. And for each value, it is going to insert one row into this table. So we just emptied that table. There are no rows available right now. So in this folder, we have 3 files. So we should see 3 records there. So the first step is HTTP request. I'm still able to run it within the designer. So it doesn't have to be manually, somebody calling there. For testing purpose, we can do like this. So we had 3 rows here or 3 files in the block. This got executed, it got the list, and we have 3 years. You see 1 of 3. If we go to next and next, all 3 rows should have inserted here. We got all those 3 files. So this is your iterations. Basically, like maybe you want to read this, or you want to read the line items of all the order in your e-commerce, or maybe get the list of all the employees and perform and send out an email to them on their leave balances. You can use this follow for your any requirement there. So anywhere you feel you have to repeat an action based on the result of a previous activity, you would use for each. Until is also similar. It's pretty basics there. So next we'll see terminate. Terminate is like a break in your C#. So if there's a flow going on and for some reason you want to just terminate, you can just terminate the task. Or before we go into terminate, any questions still here? We'll take terminate as an example. Same thing with the blob. For some reason, like in between this, you can run some conditions, like if condition and all, and then the file uploaded is PNG or employee applying for a leave or discount open is not valid. You can just send out a failed message or cancelled message or success message. So we'll just send out a cancel message here, assuming that there are more steps involved in between. Let me run this. We'll upload a file here. It just executed the terminate. The return is cancel. I just want to show you this one. If you go to the history here, you see the status or output of that. You see everything was successful. The status is cancelled now. Okay, because we returned status as cancelled there. So we can either return succeed, or we can return what do I call failed, or we can return cancel. So basically what it does is it just stop the execution of that logic app trigger. Okay. I want to show one last thing for today. It's got something called scope. Scope is nothing but like a try catch block. Okay. As in any programming language, you have try catch just to make sure that if there is an error, like it should not stop abruptly there. Like there has to be a correct process. There has to be a smooth execution and error handling there. So for example, like I will take this scenario. Whenever there's a new blob added, we will try to delete that, and we try to delete that again in the second action. So definitely at this spot we'll get an error because it is already deleted and there's no option here. So after that, the next steps, what do we want to do? We want to continue the execution or we want to stop? We can decide this with the help of scope. Let me just go here and remove this terminate, and I'll add a scope here. So under the scope, first action I want to do, I just want to delete that file. Delete this block. For deleting, I'm passing path, not name. It gives the complete path there. I'll add another action, same thing. I'll try to delete that for second time, and it should break on this time. Because you cannot, there's no file, you cannot delete it again. So after this, maybe I want to do one more thing. For example, let's say I want to just for demonstration purpose, I want to just declare a variable and initialize that variable with some value. Let's call this as output variable, type as array, enter the value. This value I'll run this function. Extract the result of this step. I'm just giving scope the previous step name. So this function evaluates and extract the result out of the activity name which you're passing there. So let's save this and run it. Go to globs. Let me add a PDF file at this time. See, this got executed. Overall, this scope activity is not executed. It failed here because one of the step under that scope is failed. We just deleted this, and definitely we cannot delete this again. There might be some error here. That source or specified is not found or not available, something like this. But the problem is, even after this step is not executed because the previous step was cancelled. This is okay in some scenarios, but some scenarios might be like even if the step is failed, I still want to continue and maybe perform the other actions there. So we can configure that as well. So if I just click on this more button here and click on configure run after. So by default this is selected. Only if the previous step is executed and succeeded, then only it will execute the next step. But what we are saying this, like even if it is failed or skipped or timed out, in all scenarios I just want to run this one. So let's save this and run this again. I'll add same PDF. Let's see the result now. even this step was failed, we were still able to execute the next step there. So depending on the requirement, and you can decide what you have to do, whether you want to execute even if it was failed. By default, it will only execute the next step if the previous step is succeeded. So the output is like the output of all these things. We're just printing it here. That's it, as a JSON. Last step was failed. It was not able to found it. Okay, this will bring to end of today's session. All right then. Thank you very much. We'll meet next week then. Have a nice weekend there.